trade is not anything beyond 15%, the lowest anywhere in the world. If you look at all our sectors and look at them, look at our agriculture, almost all African countries are net food importers. There is not a single African country that is in meaningful technology. Not a single African country produces a mobile phone. Yet the single most important ingredient in mobile telephony is to be found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Not a single African country produces a car other than assembling completely knocked down kits. There is no meaningful production of pharmaceutical products in Africa. It is because we are politically weak, we are economically weak, socially we are disorganized, culturally and spiritually we are confused. That is the continent in which we are today. We unite or we perish. That as I travel along across the world, people do not care about our Tanzanianness or our Ghanaianness or our Kenyanness or our Ethiopianness. In their eyes, we are all Africans. And perhaps that is what we should use as the building block in order to talk about African unity. Nobody cares about us. And
I have known His Excellency, the Vice
Welcome to the platform, a platform for information, education, dialogue, and entertainment. We hope to inform the public on issues in Africa, in Liberia, and all over the world. Today we are going to discuss about the current issues in Liberia and also Africa as our first segment. And second segment, we're going to deal with the issues within the boundaries of Africa, which our topic for today is rich continent, poor people. So we're going to look at that from the holistic point of view and make sure that we discuss the issue in length. Well, when it comes to Liberia, we hope and pray that the general election that is ongoing must come and pass in peace, and every Liberian should be encouraged to register and vote. As the President, His Excellency Dr. George Manawia have made mention of, every Liberian should come out, register, vote, so that they can determine their future, determine who should lead the country, and make sure that the country is So sorry for the break in transmission. We want to encourage every Liberian, home and abroad, to encourage their people to go and vote. The election, the general election, is very important, and being registered and voting make you express your will, make you express your will, and there where your voice can be heard. S- So we encourage our brothers uh, to take charge of the. We apologize for the breaking transmission. We want to take a break to be right back. Welcome back to the platform. Sorry for the break in transmission. So, as we're saying, that the Liberian people should take charge and move on to register and vote in the upcoming general and presidential election, because they will be able to elect those that they want to be in power, and they will be able to make use of the opportunity to make their voices heard. So the more the people come out to vote, the better it is. So we encourage that the population come out to vote, while we listen to the noise in the country. We want to call on the opposition to encourage members of their constituents to go and register and vote, so as to reduce and make sure that, if they feel that the government is not working, to ensure that the to ensure that they and their members' voices are heard throughout the length and breadth of the Republic of Liberia. As we move to the 2023 presidential election, we like to encourage both ruling party and opposition members to help us keep the country in peace and not pieces, so as to foster development and the forward march of our people. Another story is coming from Kenya and South Africa, is very, very, very disturbing, and we urge that the community or leadership in charge to take siege of the matter and bring the country to a peace. We really, really, we are really, really interested in the African continent peace and global peace as a whole. Therefore, we ask that the president, Mr. William Ruto, and the South African president, Ramaphosa, to try to bring these matters to closure and encourage peace as we move forward to general and presidential elections in Africa and the global community. We are watching closely with regard to Liberia when it comes to the peace and sustainability of our peace in Liberia. So this platform will provide for dialogue, communication, and entertainment. So we'll encourage every one of our people to join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the time at 10 p.m. Malaysian time up to 11:30 p.m. We're going to be discussing issues affecting our country, our motherland, Mama Liberia, and also the African continent and the world at large. As we look forward to 2023 general and presidential election in Monrovia, Liberia. Always join us. So we now transition to the phrase, "Oh, rich continent, poor people." Why are we rich in natural resources and poor people? Poor living standards, poor educational facility, poor healthcare, and everything is just poor. Why? We dig deeper into the issues, discuss lengthily uh, the issue affecting the African continent, ranging from lack of leadership, corruption, and the likes. So we turn down the music to proceed with our discussion. Yeah, as the African continent is noted for the issues of the issue the issue of corruption, the issue of nepotism, and other forms of governance malpractices. We think that the issue affecting the African continent that is leading us to the current state of governance across Africa and the current state of poor livelihood for all Africans are because of corruption, are because of mixed management, are because of a lot of other things that must be addressed. The issue of youth empowerment, we talk about student migrating and student moving across the board. It is very important that we understand that the leaders are not in the favor of the masses. The masses are always crying, always wanting to have the chance, the opportunity to live the life they have dreamed of. But the kind of governing architecture we have in our various countries, taking Liberia, we have a lot of corruption cases which are not persecuted, and a lot of issues that are not looked into is causing trouble. For example, we look at youth empowerment. Uh, most countries in Africa do not take this seriously. They not invest in their youth. Those that invest little, which we think is a big blow to the continent of Africa. We hope and pray that the governing architecture or the government or those that are in charge of public resources can look into the needs of the people, can look and seek to the welfare of its citizens, and look and see how we can remedy the challenges the people face. Yeah, so one thing for sure is that youth empowerment will empower the community. If the schools can be built, public university can be made free, access to education is improved, access to healthcare is improved, the people grow. When these things are lacking, there are a lot of challenges, lot of challenges. So as we speak to you from Malaysia, we can see a lot of progress in the East countries, East Asian countries, and West Asian countries with regard to the economic policies and development. With regards to their economic policies and governance architectures, there are some challenges, but they are doing well and they are making maximum progress in minimum time. However, the African continent, we have leaders who are not visionary, and a visionary leader is the one that will move the continent, and a non-visionary leader is the one that make the people suffer. We hope and pray that the African continent will experience and see leaders, young people rising to the occasion to make things work, because they should be the driving force to the socio-economic growth of the African people. Therefore, we see some progress, however, in the African countries. We see some level of progress, but these progress are not enough. These progress are not enough, and we need more of this. We need more people to be encouraged to venture into businesses. Some people have the skills, but they don't have the finances to open a business. You understand? Some people have, some people wants to learn, but they don't have the capacity to learn. This is very, 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 very challenging, and we hope and pray that the governance architecture can take into consideration the the people, the interest of the people, the interest of the people, the interest of the people. Look in and create a way that the people can survive, in a way that people can live, in a way that people can achieve their dreams by working hard, by motivation, and by encouragement. The current state of the African people is kind of bad. Let us welcome our brother Kevin. Kevin, welcome to the platform. Kevin,
Okay, thank you. I
welcome to
appreciate
the platform.
everyone
We were
for the
discussing.
show.
Are you there? We welcome to the platform. We were discussing the topic under discussion: the rich continent, poor people. Initially, we discussed about the current state of governance in Liberia. So now you may make your input, bro. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
We apologize for the technical breakdown. We have some issues as today is our first day, so we have so many technical glitches. We will resolve them in our subsequent broadcast, and we hope and pray that we will be able to improve the broadcast as times go on. So our brother Kevin has joined us initially, but unfortunately he had some issues uh, with regard to his connection, so he went offline. So welcome back to the show. So we were talking about the rich continent, poor people, the topic on our discussion for today. The African people are strong people. The African people are people who work hard, are people who believe in hard work, are people who have built strong enthusiasm for work. However, the continent experiencing leaders that are not visionary, leaders that are not motivating, leaders that are not engaging, leaders that serve as dictators, leaders that serve their own wills and pleasure. Therefore, we have so many challenges with regard to that. And we hope and pray that the African people will rise above the current states of governance. So, like we said, our brother is experiencing some challenges, so we will have to take him off until the challenges are resolved. So, leaders are Africans leaders are always the problem of Africa. You may say, why Africans have to leave to go abroad to study? Why do Africans leave their homeland to seek asylum in other country? Why do Africans leave their home country and and seek opportunities in another man's life? This is because the opportunity are not provided. This is because our leaders feel that they are untouchables. They are the law. Like people will say, they feel that they are the law. They cannot be challenged. They cannot be removed. And mostly people tend to live in this for years on end. Years on end. But the people are not sleeping. As we go through election, we encourage every and each African countries should come out, elect people that are workaholic, elect people that do not that see corruption as an enemy, people that see corruption as a fundamental disaster to the African continent, people who are advocates against corruption, people who past records has shown some level of integrity, some level of courage, and have always stand for the truth. If that can be done, then we can say that we are on the right path and on the right trajectory to history. But our problem has always been our leaders. Our problem has always been our leaders. They are always our problem because they practice all the evils that one can think about. They practice all the evil that people think about. They practice everything that is bad that leads us to something else. So we wish and pray that educational facilities can be built, TV institution can be improved, and people can start to gain the requisite knowledge to empower themselves. There are people with skills who do not have the capital required to start the kind of entrepreneurial business they want. And the surest way to sustaining economy is by empowering the people who they themselves will empower their fellow countrymen. If the people are provided funds, if people are provided funds to engage in entrepreneurship, people will then tend to innovate things and bring out things that will improve the livelihood of its people. However, it is the other way around. People are more devilish, people are more selfish, and they don't feel the need to give others, which is very, very, very terrible. We want to call on our leaders to see fit, to support those Africans, those young brothers who wish to study in Africa, but the opportunity is not provided. Some might live in the African continent not because they hate the continent. No, not because they don't like the people. No, not because the continent is bad, but because the opportunities are not provided. If these opportunities are provided, we can assure the people that even those that are out that are on the fence will come in to contribute their quota, contribute to the growth and development of the people. So, we think things can be worked on and people can be empowered. So our people need empowerment. Our people need to be our people need to be empowered. And once they are empowered, we think everything will just work. Once again, let's listen to Patrice Lumumba of Kenya and get what he wants to share with us.
How weak we are. And we are weak. Look at how we are treated. When African heads of states and government are speaking, the hall is empty. Nobody bothers because they are saying nothing. Even if they are saying something, it is something that can be ignored. Compare when an African head of state and government is speaking and when the Prime Minister of Little Israel is speaking. They will listen because we are weak and disunited. So we have a weak continent because the spirit of Pan-Africanism disappeared. We are not trading with one another. African trade is not anything beyond 15%, the lowest anywhere in the world. If you look at all our sectors and look at them, look at our agriculture, almost all African countries banned. There is not a single African country that is in meaningful technology. Not a single African country produces a mobile phone. Yet the single most important ingredient in mobile telephony is to be found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Not a single African country produces a car other than assembling completely knocked down kits. There is no meaningful production of pharmaceutical products in Africa. It is because we are politically weak, we are economically weak, socially we are disorganized, culturally and spiritually we are confused. That is the continent in which we are today. We unite or we perish. That as I travel along across the world, people do not care about our Tanzanianness or our Ghanaianness or our Kenyanness or our Ethiopianness. In their eyes, we are all Africans. And perhaps that is what we should use as the building block in order to talk about African unity. Nobody
So welcome back. So the prof was saying that we unite or we perish. We must stand up. We must stand up to these things. If our leaders are speaking, they are treated like trash because they themselves treat their people like trash. We must come together and solve our issues. We as a people must stand up for what is right and forbid what is wrong. So, like we said, our program will be aired Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we will be starting our program at 10, and our program will end at 11:30 p.m. So join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a fascinating discussion as we bring on the bowl some of our colleagues to discuss issues relating to education, empowerment, entertainment, and inspiring others to be who they are, who they want to be, who they wish to be in life. Life is about motivation. It's about encouragement. It's about looking at the benefits of the general benefit of the people. So we will on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week, by the grace of God, discuss issues. Current segment one of our program will focus on issues affecting Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. And also, we will focus on empowerment issues. How do young people get empowered? What government should do? How they should do? How much to invest? What are the challenges? And how these things can be resolved? Some people just need a little to just start something. But because of the kind of bureaucracy associated with governance, associated with obtaining opportunities, associated with the governance cycle, many people are discouraged. Many people feel disheartening. But what we should look at is the general picture. An individual can empower 10% from the little skills they have. Some are skilled in tailoring, some are skilled in carpentry, some are skilled in various other departments or segments. The only thing they need is a little push. Now, coming back to the topic, the rich continent, poor people. Look, the continent of Africa does not lack anything, anything, anything with regard to resources that require the development of the African people and the African continent. But those that are ahead of these things, those that feel that people must be at their service instead of them being at the service of the people, they are the major problem. They are the major problem. They are the problem. Because if our leaders can look in a direction in which the governance architecture can be seen as a means to empower people, as a means to elevate the people, as a means of reducing the gap between the poor and the rich, we will head somewhere. Typical example of the progress of the African continent with regard to leaders with visionary mindset are leaders like Kwame, leaders like Burkina Faso leader Thomas Sankara, leaders like Tanzanian leader, former Tanzanian leader, late Tanzanian leader uh, 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 John Magufuli. These people have the mindset and the capability to lift the African people from abject poverty. Look, some people goes to bed hungry without knowing where the next meal is coming from. This is terrible. This is terrible. And our leaders need to step up. Our leaders need to step up. Our leaders need to wake up and observe these things and try to change these things. These narratives are not healthy. They cause migration, you see. And if there is starvation, it causes a lot of diseases. People are suffering from diseases that should have been prevented, diseases that can be resolved, and diseases that can be solved before it occur. Like people normally say, prevention is better than cure, but the African continent is the other way around. We wait for the issue before we solve it, and it is dangerous. It is causing lives. It is causing a lot of damages. We hope and pray that our African leaders will wake up, will wake up. Those that are already wake up should wake the other leaders. Those that are still sleeping should make an effort to wake up and change the narrative. We need a change. We need a total renaissance. We need a total renaissance in our continent. We need voices that speak out, voices that challenge the status quo, voices that encourage people, people to work, voices that encourage, that motivate people, that make people feel a part of the society. Another issue that can be looked at is the issue of this social business, the social business of Prof. Yunus. It can be tapped upon, this knowledge, even though we have people with selfish motives and interests. But we believe that one day the African continent will be liberated from the hands of those who don't love the people, those who pretend to love the people, those who feel that they can extort the people, those who feel that law is in their hands. We need leaders that are submissive, leaders that understand the plight of the people, and leaders that can put their neck on the chopping board, that can come out to solve issues instead of creating issues. We need leaders that can solve the problem, not create a problem that is bigger than the problem itself. But today, we see leaders without vision, leaders that don't think, leaders that don't care, and leaders that don't see the foul march of his or her people as a top priority. However, we think more need to be said, more need to be done, and once that is done, more need to be acted upon, not just by the leaders, even by the people themselves. Liberia is going to an election. Other countries in Africa are going to an election. Are these democratic process fair? Are these democratic process transparent? Are these democratic process, you know, credible? These questions must be asked. These questions must be looked at. People must know what they are doing. People must understand the nature of the power that they are given. And people should know that they are not just given power just because they people like them. So we take the time to welcome back our brother Kevin. Welcome to the show. Unmute your mic. Are you there? Kevin? Kevin, can unmute your mic? Kevin, your mic is muted. Can you unmute your mic? Are you there, Kevin? We are not hearing you because your mic is muted. Unmuted. Are you there, Kevin? Click on the mic icon and unmute yourself, Kevin. Are you there? Are you there, Kevin? So we continue. We just play this one from the prof as
And brothers and sisters, if you want to know how weak we are, and we are weak, look at how we are treated. When African heads of government are speaking, the hall is empty. Nobody bothers because they are saying nothing. Even if they're saying something, it is something that can be ignored. Compare when an African head of state and government is speaking and when the Prime Minister of Little Israel is speaking. They will listen.
okay. Welcome back, Kevin. Can you unmute your mic? Are you there, Kevin? Can you hear me? Can you unmute your mic? We are not getting you, Kevin. You have to unmute your mic.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Welcome
I
to
have
the
a
show.
bad internet. So, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I'm good, my brother. Loud and clear, bro. Go ahead, bro. So bring us up to speed with current events in Liberia. How is the voter registration process?
Uh, the internet is not easy, so I'm not really getting. But for the past, I've been following like
Can you
hello.
use an earpiece? Are you there? Are you there, Kevin? Okay, our brother Kevin is going through some tough time with internet challenges. Therefore, we cannot have him on the show. He has exerted a lot of efforts to form part of the program tonight, but there are so many issues, so many challenges with regard to his internet. However, we wanted to speak to him about the issue of voter registration as the National Election Commission of Liberia has announced voter registration to begin today on the 20th of March 2023. So we hope we can speak with him to understand the level of enthusiasm the Liberian people are exerting in these efforts to register and to uh, vote their candidates of their choice to public office come December October 10. But since we cannot get Kevin, we continue the show as of when he comes on, then we proceed with him. So the voter registration process is very important. Therefore, um, therefore, we will read a release from the Liberian government to His Excellency Dr. George Manewia, President of the Republic of Liberia. Uh, President of the Republic of Liberia, about the voter registration process, reading live from the Executive Mansion online portal. It reads, His Excellency Dr. Monday. This release was released on Thursday, the 16th March 2023, and the headline says President Weah calls on citizens to take advantage of voter registration. Monrovia, Liberia, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manewia, has called on all citizens to take advantage of the voter registration exercise. The National Election Commission is about to begin on the 20th, 2023. So, the voter registration is the only legitimate medium that enable Liberians to vote in the legislative and presidential election comes October in 2023. I call on all citizens 18 and above to register in order to be able to vote. The President urged in a special statement issued Thursday, the 16th March 2023. President Weah reminded Liberians that such is an important civil duty they must perform as citizens. The President informed citizens that their voter registration card, the voter's card, will allow them to make a decision to have better healthcare, have education, and as well as improve infrastructure. He said the National Election Commission has said from the 20th, which is today, to April 9th, 2023, citizens of Bapulu, Burmi, Cape Mount, Grand Bassa, Magibi, and Monserrado County will register to vote. So, and from April 21st to May 11, 2023, the citizens of Bon County, Grand Jide, Grand Cru, Lofa County, Maryland, Nimba, River G, and Sino counties will do theirs. He added, the Liberian leader challenged his citizens to inform family members, friends, and neighbor age 18 and above about the exercise. So this is the remark on the website of the executive mansion, about His Excellency George Manewia encouraging citizens residing within the beltway of the Republic of Liberia to go and register to vote and decide on their leader. You understand? To decide uh, the governing architecture of the Republic of Liberia in the presidential and general election that have to do with the representative and senatorial candidates of the both houses, the House of Representative and the House of Senate. So it is a very crucial election, and we hope that experience can be drawn from the election in Nigeria, our neighboring country, our West African brothers. We can learn from their experiences and their challenges, especially the challenges when it comes to election security, when it comes to voter registration, and when it comes to election management as a whole. Because we think that the voter turnout is very important, and is very important and crucial to the general view of we see how we see ourselves and our community as a whole. So election is very crucial in Africa, as most African head of states who are going for re-elections are very engaging at the moment. They try as much as possible to win the election. So we hope and pray that the general and presidential election in Liberia will bring to the fore leaders that will and are capable of maintaining the peace are capable of encouraging uh, development and encouraging empowerment as a whole, making sure that the wealth of the nation is equally distributed. Like we read from the e-mansion, the president encouraged members across the board to register and vote. This is very important. So we hope and pray that citizens of Liberia will make an effort, will make an effort to encourage the citizenaries to encourage the citizenaries encourage the citizenaries to muster the courage to come out and vote, to see themselves as the change agent, to see themselves as people who can make the difference, people who can and should uh, vote in people that are corruption free, that have the capability of running the state, that have everything that is necessary to move the country forward. So going back to our topic for today, rich continent, poor people. The continent is rich in natural resources, diamonds, and everything that you can think of. But how these things are managed is a serious concern to everyone within Africa and out of Africa. And we hope and pray that leaders are those who read between the line, understand the plight of the people, and try to implement. But most African leaders are not what a leader is. They are they are not true leaders. They are leaders that increase the problems of the African people instead of addressing them. We should look in another direction. We should look for people who sees the problem of the people as their own problem. Taking back to the Liberian presidential and general election, we call on the National Election Commission to look at regional elections, learn from their mistakes, and improve the electoral processes and independence of the commission. We pray that everything goes smooth. We pray that the election come and go in peace. And we, as citizens outside of Liberia, we hope to see the best for our motherland. Always pray for the best because there is nowhere like home. Always nowhere like home. Nowhere like home. So President Weah, according to the executive mansion, has traveled outside of Liberia to the UAE and also to the UAE and also will make a stop at the at the US to meet with some key members of the leadership governance architecture of the American people, and we hope and pray that the travel will bring some kind of benefit to the Republic of Liberia as we look forward to uh, seeing major investments in Liberia, and addressing the challenges of our people. So today was a monologue. We expected to have a dialogue between I and my friends, but unfortunately, due to internet, we had some breakdown in internet and some challenges which we will resolve in our subsequent broadcast. Um, so thank you for following us. We will have to cut short our broadcast for today. Hopefully next week, or hopefully Wednesday, we resume our broadcast, and it will be an interesting. So join us on Wednesday to experience a discussion about the African people and empowerment. Our discussion going to focus on empowerment, current issues in Africa, and as well as the way forward, what diaspora Liberians and Africans can do to help support the African continent. So I have been your host, Abubakar Ba. I'm residing in Malaysia, and I wish you have had our brothers who is in Liberia to give us uh, his fair share of what is happening. What's the state of the current activities in the Republic of Liberia? However, due to some internet challenges, he could not join us. So we apologize for that, and we look forward to improving our show. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye bye.